Welcome back to this special edition of Newswaves. Vintage Malibu has a new pastor.
Newswaves 32 reporter Abby Wilt is live at Pepperdine Stauffer Chapel to introduce you to the man who is now heading the church. Abby?
Thanks, Carl. Vintage Church is beginning a new season here in Malibu while building community and creating a church family that feels like home.
After a season of hardship and loss, one's faith might be something they pull away from. But for others, it's what keeps them grounded.
I actually gave my life to Jesus basically after the pandemic.
A person leading Franzen on his faith journey is Chris Bennett. Bennett is also starting new. He moved to California from Oklahoma 4 years ago, but this month he took on a new role as head pastor of Vintage Malibu, with a focus on serving others and serving Jesus while creating a community at Vintage.
I've always had a heart to really love and care and create family for people. It's one of the main reasons we came out to LA.
Vintage welcomes people of all ages every Sunday, but also provides opportunities for community throughout the week.
All the members coming together and combining and using each person's talents and gifts. And they do a really good job at making the space for that to be able to happen.
Being right down the street from Pepperdine, Bennett says he is striving to make Vintage a place where college students can grow in their faith no matter what stage of life they are in.
People come in and they come out, but we want to serve this city really well and to be a blessing to it.
First-year Pepperdine student Tashi Franzen is making connections, attending Vintage and volunteering with the kids' Sunday school program.
Vintage is actually probably the best church community that I've ever been in.
And he's reconnecting with Bennett. Franzen met Bennett when he was 4 years old in Oklahoma.
So we go way back.
Now he is welcoming him to his new home in Malibu. As Bennett is starting a new season in his ministry, he wants Vintage to be a place where people can find or renew their faith and trust.
And really just trying to create a space for people to get to know each other and feel like it's really safe and they can bring who they are, where they are, and they're going to be loved right where they are.
Here we have with us Chris Bennett from Vintage Malibu. Chris, thank you so much for being here with us today. So I know you're new in this role. You just preached your first sermon here at Vintage about 3 weeks ago. So far, what do you see as the biggest opportunity for your church here?
First of all, Malibu is amazing, and what I love is there's already so many incredible churches here. I think what we're most excited about is just partnering with other believers, other churches in the community. And really our desire is to provide a sense of family for people that feel isolated, disconnected, maybe don't feel like they have a group where they belong, and to really help people experience that in a really hopefully powerful way.
I love that. And then speaking of kind of building family, how are you doing that with the Pepperdine community, and how are you specifically targeting your ministry to Pepperdine students?
Yeah, I mean, Sunday mornings is one way to come together, and we have a lot of kids that show up. I said kids because I'm old now, I'm like 43. But yeah, a lot of college kids come on Sunday morning, but we really believe in creating small group communities. So we have a small group called Life Groups that meets on Tuesday nights, and 60, 70 college kids crammed into a living room, usually because there's pizza, that'll get them there. No, but I think that's what we really hope is that they can find people that are like-minded, like-hearted to do life with.
That's awesome. And then speaking a little more broadly, what is the biggest challenge that you think is facing pastors and churches in America today?
Yeah, I mean, my family and I moved here 4 years ago and haven't been pastoring for the last few years. And I've talked to a lot of pastors that pastored through a pandemic, and I know there were a lot of challenges. I think coming out of it, and people are finally starting to come out and show up, I think it's easy to feel disconnected and isolated. I think a lot of people, just because churches were closed down, didn't get to experience that, consistent coming together. So I think what we're trying to do is just invite people into not just showing up at church and religion, but into a sense of community and family, and creating, I hate to say habits, but healthy patterns in their life, because ultimately we just don't do life very well alone. We weren't made for it. We don't really thrive in that way. So how do we help people, come back together, do life together?
Perfect. And then, coming out of the pandemic, how do you think is one step that people can take to renew or reconnect with their faith?
I mean, I think the beautiful thing about having a relationship with Jesus is it's not about getting cleaned up and getting all these things together. I think it's opening our heart up to Him. And so I would just say wherever anybody is, open the heart up to Him, turn to Him, and God will meet us right where we are.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. And Annabelle, I know you reported on a shortage of pastors in the area a few weeks ago. So what do you think about that now that we have Chris?
No, it's definitely very exciting. I did some reporting and referenced this survey that talked about a lot of pastors stepping down because of the COVID stresses and different things throughout the past 2 years. So it's exciting to see kind of the opposite effect happening. Thank you so much, Abby.